And the title is, Come On, Joe. Calls for Biden to free nonviolent pot prisoner Edwin Rubis intensify. So cannabis legalization continues to spread across the country. Federal government is currently debating reform, while the Biden administration has issued several pardons to federal marijuana offenders. However, several thousand people remain incarcerated for nonviolent cannabis crimes. One prisoner, Edwin Rubis, is now getting a rallying cry to bring him home. Rubis is currently in his 27th year in federal custody. He was sentenced to 40 years in prison in the late 90s for conspiracy to distribute marijuana. A DEA raid at the time found no physical evidence, no guns, no cash, no drugs. But Rubis was still convicted as others in his network singled him out during interrogations. Activists believe the punishment does not fit the crime, and the Biden administration needs to rectify this injustice. They believe the president has not gone far enough in his promises to enact meaningful change to, in his words, America's failed approach to marijuana. Advocates have spent years working to free Rubis and others like him. After a tragic social media post from August in which Rubis discussed spending his 56th birthday in deplorable conditions, the anger within the cannabis community swelled. The campaign to free Rubis began getting more traction online, focused on getting the Biden administration to set him free. Bill Lever, COO of the nonprofit Freedom Grow and co-founder of Beard Bros Farms, was a founder of the campaign and is one of the loudest voices behind it. He has called for a unified front, encouraging media outlets, activists, and the cannabis community to call for Rubis's release. Quote, January 20th is 141 days from now, and President Biden's legacy further erodes every one of those days that Edwin Rubis remains behind bars in federal prison for a nonviolent cannabis crime committed nearly 3 decades ago. Come on, Joe, let's get this man home, Lever said in a statement, and he's referring to the day when Biden will transfer power to whoever wins the election in November. Kristen Floor, CEO of Freedom Grow, told Green State that violent criminals typically receive lighter sentences than nonviolent cannabis offenders. She pointed to government statistics as evidence Rubis's crimes do not match the punishment. For example, the average sentence for a rape conviction is just under 15 years. Rubis was sentenced to 40. Quote, Edwin has spent about 9,500 nights in a prison cell, Floor said. During this time, he has seen murderers and rapists come and go daily. He has also seen our cannabis laws change nationwide, yet he still sits in a federal prison for cannabis. Organizers behind the campaign also highlight Rubis's good behavior while behind bars. According to a press release, Rubis has completed, quote, over 30 educational programs, earning 3 college degrees in the process, including a master's in Christian counseling. Advocates argue that the emotional impact of Rubis's sentences is also a cause for release. Quote, the relationship with his family has suffered severely, Floor said. His children have grown up without him. We would like to have him united with his children as soon as possible. I have gotten to know Edwin over the years, and he is a very kind, gentle person. He would never hurt anyone. In fact, he is a mentor and has helped a lot of people. Those who wish to support the campaign to see Edwin Rubis freed are encouraged to reach out to their elected officials and the White House. Donations are also being accepted on behalf of Rubis via Freedom Grow. Commutations of sentences and pardons are often some of the last political acts conducted by presidents as they exit office. While the Biden administration leaning into cannabis reform and the Harris-Walz campaign seemingly equally passionate, it's possible a number of pot prisoners could be freed in the near future. As Biden prepares to transfer power in January, Rubis and others behind bars for nonviolent marijuana crimes hope their cases are among those addressed. So yours truly reporting for Green State. What do you guys think about the campaign? Do you think that Biden will pardon Edwin Rubis and other pot prisoners before he leaves office?
No.
That's great. That was a great story. Thank you, Rachelle. I think we will. I think we will see some people get released. But let me ask you something.
You really do, Stone? For real? Seriously?
I think we will. I think we will. But this particular guy, federal nonviolent pot criminal or whatever, it's not criminal, but right, shouldn't he have fallen under that lip service pardon thing that Biden announced? Why wouldn't this guy already released?
Simple possession. That's not simple possession. He's got a sales charge. So that's unfortunate. That's why that release made absolutely no sense and released zero goose
people.
egg people from prison.
People.
I mean, this is disgusting. Like, this guy has spent his entire life behind bars for something that was a nonviolent, victimless crime, and that's extremely frustrating. This guy is also, he got his master's. He's working on his doctorate right now. This guy is making his time at least count and trying to help others and enrich, and I think that he's an excellent case for those who should not be sitting in these violent prisons for a nonviolent plan.
Mm-hmm.
The sentencing guidelines and the mandatory minimums are just draconian. There's no way you can justify them. I got 60 months, and the prosecutors wanted to give me 25 years because I was the organizer, trying to give a few sick people some weed. You can take these guidelines and stack them up, and judges used to just hammer you. If you got 1,000 plants, it's a minimum mandatory of 10 years. And if you're the organizer, they start adding decades and more on to your sentence. That nonsense needs to be taken away. That goes back to the Reagan administration when Lynn Bias died. And they got the Speaker of the House, Tip O'Neill, said, fuck it, we're going to go after these criminals because my guy died of cocaine poisoning to his heart. And what they did was they threw a lot of people into prison who didn't belong there. I'm not saying you should have just been let go. There's a lot of ways to deal with people who break rules without throwing them in prison for the rest of their life. We were treated worse than people who were violent criminals, who were arsonists, who were rapists. I went to prison when I was 56 years old, okay? And I watched Obama get it's like, what are you going to do for me? And the answer was, we ain't doing dick for you. Okay, you can just rot. And that's what you hear. And I would hope that it would change, but I'm not seeing it. I don't see Biden. He was one of the orchestrators of this let's bring in these draconian minimum mandatories in the first place. I don't see him overturning this. Kamala, I mean, she's got her own history here in California. And I've got some of my activist friends who think that she tried to help cannabis prisoners.
Stop it.
I'm still,
they're
mixed up about that because I didn't see it that way.
I didn't see it either that way.
I don't know if she's going to step up. I mean, I'd like to have a pardon. Do you think I'm going to get it? No. Someone sitting in prison, they need to be sent home. And if you're not going to give them a pardon, put them on supervised release and let them go back to their families. This is horrible. It's a black mark on the history of this country. And it needs to be undone.
Thank you so much for covering this story, Rachelle, and big shout out to my guys over at Beard Bros continuing to do their thing. And I think I do just trying to add a little positivity to it. It seems like the only way to get a hold of these politicians these days is public shame. And the more that we can draw attention to shit like this, the better chance we have of some kind of positive action, some kind of positive result coming from it.
I do agree with that. And if anyone wants to help.
Freedom Grows.
Yeah. I was going to say, if anyone wants to help out with the efforts of Freedom Grow, they can go to their website at www.freedomgrow.org and help support the work that they do over there.
Call these
motherfuckers. Well, and what would be the downside politically for Biden to send this guy home tomorrow? I mean, he's got his master's degree. He's working on higher education. He's been nothing but a star inmate for 40 years. What's the political baggage going to go along with sending this poor bastard home?
We just need to hope that everyone shares this story, shares this video, shares all, because it's going to take a massive ground grassroots campaign of everyone in order to bring that type of public shame that would warrant that type of a response. Because other than that, it's just going to be the status quo.